Welcome to Parks and Places Online, and welcome to the end of COVID-19 closures and shutdowns. Lots of people are traveling, and since international travel is still pretty much closed, a lot of people are hitting the national parks. If you've heard stories of crowds and no places to stay, those stories are true. But we found a way to make it work, and we will share that with you. Please subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon to get notifications when new videos are uploaded. RV sales are booming. Everyone's excited to get out and enjoy the beauty of God's creation. Our national parks are some of the best places to experience this, but too many people doing the same thing can make it difficult. Finding camping in or around national parks has become difficult or seemingly impossible for the popular destinations. So today we share a strategy that allowed us to stay 10 days in Grand Teton National Park without any reservations. I have a drone video of our stay at the end of this video, so stay tuned. Starting with the basics. There are campsites in campgrounds that can be reserved and other sites that are first come, first serve. If you get a first come, first serve site, then you're good to stay there for as long as you want, usually up to a 14-day max. If you have reservations, then you have the specific campsite for a certain day or days, and then you must relinquish that campsite to the next party that has reserved. There is a great website to find information on campgrounds in our national parks and to make reservations online. That website being reservation.gov. The problem is, if you go to recreation.gov and you search for Grand Teton National Park, for example, and you look for availability, you'll see that there's very little availability and essentially nothing for consecutive days. And I'm talking about for the rest of 2021. The reality is, making a reservation for an extended stay at a popular national park in 2021 probably is not going to happen. The Tetons, like many national parks, have gone to a reservation-only system. There are no campsites available on a first-come, first-served basis. So, what to do? You can try and get a reservation at a private campground like a KOA outside the park. We called several private campgrounds outside the Tetons, and they were all booked. Plus, they were over $100 a night. So what did we do? We stayed at National Forest Service campgrounds outside the national park. This is a strategy that will work at many, if not most, national parks. Most national parks are surrounded by national forests. I'm not going to get into the difference between a national park and a national forest right now, but know that national forests do have campgrounds. National forest campgrounds tend to have less services than in a national park. It will likely have an outhouse and not flush toilets. And you may have to drive down a dirt road to get to the campground. But the biggest difference is that you're not camping in the national park. You have to drive into the national park in the morning, and you have to drive back to your campground in the evening. This would be the same issue if you were staying in a private campground outside the park. Most national forest campgrounds are first come, first serve, which means once you get a site, you can stay there as long as you want, usually up to 14 days. There are many ways to find national forest campgrounds. Maybe the easiest is by looking at the national park map. Looking at a map of the Tetons, they have 8 national forest campgrounds listed. You can use several different websites to find campgrounds as well, including recreation.gov and Campendium, which I tend to use a lot. You must be flexible though. We intended to stay at Curtis Canyon Campground, and we drove most of the way there, but we realized the road was in bad shape, and although we were able to make it, it wasn't a road that we were willing to drive twice a day. Our second option was Atherton Creek Campground, but by the time we got there, which was about 11:30 in the morning, it was already full for that night. So we continued down the road and drove to Crystal Creek Campground and stayed there for one night. The next day we got to Atherton Creek Campground about 9:30 in the morning, and we found a nice site and we stayed there for 10 days. To land a first come, first served site, you need to get there early. Just how early is a question I can't answer. It depends on where you're at and the time of year. But a general rule is that if you get there on a weekday before noon, you're probably good. Atherton Creek Campground was 5 miles from the park border and 15 miles from Moose Junction, a major part of the park. So consider the extra driving each day a small price to pay to enjoy our national parks in this unprecedented year. I leave you with drone video from Crystal Creek Campground and Atherton Creek Campground. The sites within some national forests are rather spectacular unto themselves, and drones are allowed in national forests. Thanks for watching. is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, nor stand in the path of sinners, nor sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. He will be like a tree firmly planted by the streams of water, which yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither, and in whatever he does, he prospers.